Hello, beautiful people. My name is Favour, and you are officially welcome to our first ever talk show named Talk with Favour. Now, you may ask me, what is Talk with Favour? Talk with Favour is an inspiring and intentional talk show created to spark growth and positive change. And also, we will be featuring phenomenal speakers who will be giving their diverse voices on the topics we have today. So I want you to sit back, enjoy this ride as we have topics planned in for just you alone. Thank you so much.
A few moments later.
Here with me, I have two intellectuals, and they're going to be sharing their diverse opinions on the topic we're going to be treating today, which is building effective communication. And first on the line, I have a very beautiful young lady, and she's going to be introducing herself to you. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Oluwalola Temitope-Jandel. I'm a fashion designer, a writer, and also a diplomat in making. And it's such an honor. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Oh wow, you're welcome. So please, if you're looking for a designer, please just hit out. Thank you so much. And also on my list, I have a very handsome and intelligent young man. Also is here to grace the show. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Lilo.
You're welcome.
Hello everybody, my name is Caleb Johnson Jato. I am an international student of history, a philosopher in the making, and a TikTok content creator. And I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be a part of this show, especially in the first ever episode. So thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. So if you want to create content, I'm coming to you straight.
Definitely.
That's Like I said earlier, our topic is building effective communication. We are here to learn, relearn, and unlearn. And this is why we have our speakers here today who are going to be telling us about communication, what communication means to them, how we can effectively communicate. And I'm very sure that you're going to learn a lot from this episode. Now to my first speaker, Ms. Jadel. How are you doing today?
I feel very well, thank you.
You're welcome. Hope you're good. Hope you're fine.
Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question for you, and it is: what is communication to you? How do you perceive communication? What do you feel communication is all about?
Okay, I would say communication is being able to interact and engage one's thoughts and emotions correctly, either by writing or speaking, or even other forms of communications as well.
Okay, so as we've heard from her, she said communication is being able to, tell people things that you want them to tell. It could be through speaking or writing. Thank you so much for that brilliant answer. And Mr. Caleb, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
I can see you looking very radiant.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want you to tell us, what is communication to you? How do you feel about communication?
Communication is, I would say it's undeniably one of the most important tools to live.
Okay.
Communication, and so communication, interaction, observance, these are things that form up to relationships, right?
Okay.
It forms up to building relationship. And I would say one of the unique things about relationship building, or relationship as a concept in itself, is that it's different. It varies across people that you speak with.
Okay.
And you could have the relationship you could have with, such as a slave and a master relationship. There's that. There could also be a father-son relationship. There's that.
Okay.
There could also be a working space relationship, right? These are different kinds of relationships, but still relationships that are built on communication, right? And I think that everybody communicates.
Yeah, actually, we all do.
It's the most basic understanding of things. Everybody communicates.
Right now, we are communicating.
Right? But then what the difference lies is, not a lot of people know how to communicate well enough.
True.
And that's where understanding comes in.
Okay.
We'll talk about that along the line.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, he has given us an in-depth work on what communication means to him. And I'm sure she has done justice to that also. Yeah.
Eternity later.
All right, we're moving to the next thing, which is a very thoughtful question. In fact, one that I don't feel I really have an answer to it, but I feel our speakers are going to do justice to that. The question is, how do you effectively articulate your thoughts? how do you effectively articulate your thoughts? And I just want them to, shed light on this particular question.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. Kenneth. Yes.
All right. Well, I may not have an answer to that question, but what I would say is that effectively articulating your thoughts is a thing that a lot of people struggle with.
Exactly.
I know for a fact that a lot of people struggle with it, because even myself, I struggle with it. I used to struggle with it. I don't know the context of the question precisely, but this particular instance, there are cases where people, kids, you would agree with me that the vast majority of kids that we have, of people that we have today, grew up in such system where they were unable to ask questions.
Exactly, I can relate.
Exactly, to like
I can relate, honestly.
Authority, because the system which your mind is established in is such that once instruction is given, you have to obey. You strictly have to obey, regardless of what you feel, and that is where the blindfold to, or the lock to not being able to let out your thoughts. That's where that comes from, and I think that really affects a lot of people up to their stage of their ability to communicate.
I mean, that's very thoughtful, honestly, because looking at a lot of things, you just feel like it's so hard to communicate effectively.
Actually,
Ms. Jade, what do you have to say to that?
Okay, according to research,
Okay.
Our speech is a reflection of our thoughts.
Oh wow.
And then from one of the wisest books I've read, it says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Yes. So that brings us to the place where the question comes up: what do you give your heart to? What do you listen to? What do you feed in? Is what you feed in that definitely
You will feed out. Okay.
Yes. So we have to consciously learn to give our hearts to things that are right, things that are things that bring growth, things that bring change. Yes, and this will help us be able to correctly structure and organize our thoughts to be able to articulate them well.
Okay,
that's really valid, actually.
Honestly,
that's a good angle. And I would also like to add to that by saying that I would say that the fact that you are looking to effectively articulate your thoughts means that you are trying to connect. You're trying to build a connection with a certain party.
Okay.
And you would agree with me that one of the strongest ways to build a connection with someone is by having shared experiences.
That's true, that's right.
When there are a set of people who have similar experiences in the same way, there is an instant connection, right? And so that way it's easier for you to articulate your thoughts. And another thing to consider is that experience plays a very big part of articulating your thoughts. Because when you're articulating your thoughts, you're not just looking at you saying your part of the thing. You're not just looking at you talking about it. You're looking at making the other person understand where you're coming from.
You.
Making the other person feel like, what you're saying is relatable and stuff like that. So that's something to really work on.
Okay. I think I resonated with what she said. She said what you feed in is directly what you're going to feed out. So what kind of things do you do? What kind of people do you listen to? What kind of people do you also keep around you? You should be mindful of those people around you and just know how to communicate very well and very perfectly. Now that makes me very curious about the next question, which is how do you communicate with people to build a relationship? Because a lot of times a lot of people get stranded. They don't know how to effectively communicate with someone to build a relationship or keep that relationship going. So I would like to hear from our speakers as what they think on how to communicate with people to build a relationship. Mr. Adele, what do you think?
Okay, when it comes to building relationship, I would say that I'm also still learning on the job.
Okay.
But yeah, three things come to mind: active listening, empathy, and honesty.
Okay.
So when it comes to active listening, I've learned that you have to learn to listen to people, put your heart to follow them through when they are talking, to even listen beyond their words, more than what they are even saying, reaching to their hearts. Yes, in depth it can be that deep when you want to build a relationship with people. And sometimes it might not even be, it depends on the kind of relationship you're even trying to build. It might be with a people or with a person. It depends on the kind of relationship. When it comes to a workspace, you're trying to build a relationship, a kind of relationship, and this involves what will I call it now? Does not involve a personal kind of relationship, except if you're willing to work on that. Usually it involves acquaintance kind of relationship, yes, and also it now depends on the kind of relationship you want to build, either it's personal with the people at the workplace or an acquaintance kind of relationship. Yes, so that moves me to empathy. You have to learn how to correctly empathize with people, that when they talk to you about things, you are not just you're not feeling sorry for them, but you can actually feel the pain. It's a different thing. Yes, it's a different thing when you actually, sorry, you're just sorry. But once you start feeling the pain, it will prompt you to want to prefer solution. Yes, and this help build effective a relationship that will last test of time. And also, one of the ways you can actually build relationship, I would say, is engage in various activities together. It might be watching of movies, it might be watching of podcasts, reading. These help create an avenue for more conversations in future, and it also creates avenue for bonding. Yes.
So that's why I say shared experiences really connect people together.
Yes.
Okay. Honestly, I took a lot, and she talked about you watching podcasts, learning new things in order to relate with people. I mean, honestly, it's a good one. I've just been feeling their questions. Honestly, their answers to the question has been top notch. High standards only. And moving to the next question. Our next question is a kind of very tricky but thoughtful question. I mean, actually, so it is: how do you know and move with people who can influence you positively? How do you know and move with people who can influence you positively? Because a lot of times people don't know who they should move with and know who they should relate with. So what's your advice? What do you say to that?
Okay, I'll answer that question with this rather deeper approach, and I'll say, in order for you to understand what you're looking for, you need to first understand who you are.
Okay.
And by that I mean, how can you know what you're looking for when you don't even know what you want?
True.
You get? And that is something that really messes a lot of people up when they're looking for things, when they're trying to look for relationships to build, because they're not even settled yet. And okay, from a different approach, I would like to commend the school. The school has a setting such that it allows people from diverse cultures to, relate with each other. And it allows for people to relate with themselves better. And I must commend the school's setting such that it functions such that it hosts constantly and consecutively programs and conferences such as the International Students Conference, the Cultural Day Conference, where you have students from all parts of the departments and faculties of the school come together for one essence, for one purpose, for one ideology. And that is where you have people of shared interests, shared ideas, shared purpose. And that can be a way to find people who have similar goals as yourself, and for yourself to grow. And also another thing to note is that as much as you are trying to look for people to learn from, people that you can pick one or two things from and you can get yourself established through, you shouldn't also be ignorant to the fact that there are people less than you are. No matter how low you think you are, there are people who are literally just starting. And so you should know always that there are people who are learning from you. So as much as you're trying to learn from people, know that there are people also learning from you.
Okay.
In addition to what you just said, I'd like to say that you have to work on being positive yourself to attract the kind of people you actually look forward to. Yes, because like attracts like, it's either they're drawn to you or you're actually drawn to them. It's either way. So that means that you have to work on growth, consistent learning and learning, trying to be better. Yes.
So as a take home for this question, it is be the better version of yourself. Know people for who they are and try to just move with them. So my next and last question is how do you make yourself a respectable person in life? How do you make yourself a respectable person in life? And I'm going to be hearing from our speakers to tell us how they have made themselves and how the audience to watching can make themselves respectable people in life. Over to you, Mr. Adair.
Okay, yeah, firstly, I would say that I practice self leadership and respect. And then,
Okay.
secondly, I place a level of value on people, even though they have not met, yes. And that brings me to honor, like I honor all people around me. And there's a saying that good turn deserves another.
Another.
Yes, this in turn, I expect that if I do not dishonor you or make you feel less like condescending. I should not expect that from you or from any other person. If I give something of value or something of worth, I should expect something like that in return. So I give my best to um, giving the best to people in approach, in conversations, in speech, and everything. And this is how I feel that we can be respectful people in the community or the society.
Okay, I mean, it's really thoughtful. Mr. Caleb, you have anything to add?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I might sound like an alpha male. Yeah. Do you know Andrew Tate? You know Andrew Tate?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I would say that for you to be a respectable person, you should first of all see yourself as a person worthy of respect.
Oh, wow.
That is one of the most important things. See yourself like a person worthy of respect. And by that I mean don't attend to irrelevant stuff. Like go where you know that
True.
your worth will be felt to validate your importance and and if you're able to do this simple exercise, I'm pretty sure everything will fall in place. You even get the respect that you deserve.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think honestly, like I'm so wowed because a lot of things that they have said, honestly, it touched me for chest. So like I'm really happy to have you on the show, Mr. Dale, and
Thank
you, Mr.
you.
Caleb. It's such an honor to have them here. And I hope they've answered most of your questions that you have been seeking an answer to. And before we go, one last thing, I just want a word of advice from Mr. Caleb. What do you have to say, to people out there about, communication? We've discussed everything practically, but do you have
Yeah.
any other thing to add?
Okay, very simple word of advice for the audience out there. The Yorubas will say one kiss on put roll.
Oh, okay.
Actually, so like if you know where you're supposed to be, you know where you're supposed to be. Don't go to places you're not supposed to be. Don't hang around people you're not supposed to hang around with. And yeah, so you find yourself doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb, for that wonderful piece of advice. I'm really grateful.
No.
And Mr. Dell, so what's your word of advice also to people out there?
Okay, I would say know who you are and let it sit in.
Okay.
It's very important that you're self-aware of your identity, and it's very important. And also, I would like to say that you should consistently give yourself to growth. It's good that you're
Exactly.
developing and growing continually because the world itself is not stagnant.
It's not. Actually, life is revolving.
Yes, it is.
So I just want to say a very big thank you to my speakers who have graced this event. Honestly,
Such a
your
honor.
contributions, your answers, even as I, the host, I'm sitting here, my eye has been open to diverse things, a lot of things,
Yeah, very
especially.
good to be here.
Yeah,
It
you're
seemed-
welcome.
You and I, we came from different angles.
Actually,
Yeah,
perspectives
exactly.
are quite different, and that makes it more impactful.
More impactful. So to that one person out there, to everyone out there watching this video right now, I just hope you find your shine. I hope you find your smile. I hope you find the person that you're meant to be. I hope you find people also who would influence you positively. And I hope you communicate with the right people. Our topic once again that we explored was building effective communication. And I hope with all what we've said, you're able to put it in practice and see how it works out for you. So please, if you have any questions at all or anything you want us to discuss, please just discuss it, drop it in the comment section, and we're going to answer to that. So all I want you to do now is just to like, subscribe, and make sure you just engage on this YouTube channel. This is Talk with Favour, and we're really grateful to have you here. Thank you for watching, and this is where we wrap it up and say bye.